The Mobile Game Variety Hour is a weekly series on TikTok where I take a comedic and critical look at the design, history, and impact of different mobile games. This video is a collection of the first 5 episodes. Welcome to the Mobile Game Variety Hour. My name's Kirky, and today for our first installment, what else could we really talk about other than the original Angry Birds? Released in 2009 by Rovio Entertainment, Angry Birds is an action puzzle game recognized as one of the first games to nail the mobile format.
This is incredible.
Angry Birds is the definition of a game that is easy to pick up and play, while also containing enough complexity and creativity to allow for mastery. A balance which all great mobile games, hell, all great games in general, should strive to achieve. Most levels in Angry Birds can be won with just 1 or 2 birds, and while you are usually supplied with enough birds to satisfyingly brute force your way through, taking your time to figure out the puzzles and properly line up your shots while wasting as few birds as possible will reward you with a 3-star completion for that level. You'll come across and projectilize a group of various birds who are trying to retrieve their stolen eggs from these stinky bastards. You launch the flock from a slingshot, and each bird has a special ability when you tap the screen. Red is your basic bitch, Chuck is speedy, the blue split into 3, Bomb is, well, a bomb, Matilda is counterproductive, Terrence is dummy thick, Bubbles is into inflation, Stella makes bubbles, Hal is a boomerang and also the coolest bird, and finally there's the mighty eagle, which acts as a special stage-clearing attack, and let me tell you, back in the day, this was the definition of bad ass. Now it's time to address the elephant in the room. Why was the original Angry Birds taken off of the App Store in April of 2019 just to be re-released 3 years later? As someone who still owns the original release as well as the Rovio Classics version, here's what I have deduced. Rovio was just being a lazy piece of shit. When the iPhone X came out in 2018, it got rid of the home button and widened the phone's screen space. This meant that most apps, games, and other software had to be reformatted to accommodate the new screen setup. And Rovio just decided not to. The original release of Angry Birds still looks and plays exactly how it should. I mean, excluding all the updates. I mean, the level packs and power-ups are cool, but now there's a load of ads and microtransactions everywhere? On second thought, maybe it was a good idea to take this down and start anew. Since its humble beginnings, Angry Birds has grown into one of the largest gaming franchises of all time, with dozens of animated shorts, 2 feature films, 3 Mount Everest worth of merchandise, and of course, a variety of sequels and spin-offs, but those are all stories for another episode of the Mobile Game Variety Hour. Welcome back to the Mobile Game Variety Hour. My name's Kirky, and today we're talking about Subway Surfers. Subway Surfers is a 3D over-the-shoulder endless runner where you play as a crew of graffiti artists running as far as they can along a subway system until one of 2 equally awful inevitabilities occur. You either get run over by a speeding train, or you're forced to face legal repercussions for your actions. Subway Surfers was co-developed by 2 Denmark companies, Kilo and Cybo Games. Did I say this right? And for over a decade now, Subway Surfers has consistently been one of the most downloaded and played games on both iOS and Android. Now, before we move on, this is just natural protocol when talking about Subway Surfers, and I know you all already know this, but I think it's time that we discuss the 5-step evolution of the 3D over-the-shoulder endless runner. Step 1, the 1983 Taito arcade game Change Lanes. While there were other games like Galaga where you had to move your character from left to right to avoid fire, Change Lanes is the earliest game I can find where you move forward in a 3D space and have to shift from the left to right to avoid obstacles. This brings us to step 2. No one can stop Mr. Domino. I know I'm like the 30th person this week who's preached to you about no one can stop Mr. Domino, but that's just because no one can stop Mr. Domino is that important. It's Mr. Domino! This 1998 PlayStation title was revolutionary for giving us a 3D side top-down perspective of a 3D character, Mr. Domino, running through a set of levels where he has to avoid obstacles by maneuvering between a set of lanes. But Change Lanes and Mr. Domino were not infinite runners. They had finite levels and endings to them. Enter 2009's Cannibalt, an indie title that is considered to be the first endless runner. Cannibalt generates a random series of platforming challenges that ramp up in both speed and difficulty the longer the player survives. But what if we took that camera and moved it a little bit there? Whoa, wait, where are you going? Temple Run. This title took the gameplay concept of Cannibalt and moved the camera behind the player as they run forward. You had to jump over, slide under, and swerve around obstacles while collecting coins for a high score. But there was still room for improvement. What if we took this, cut out the funky motion controls, and made the game significantly more stylish and actually cool. Subway Surfers has been and will always be one of the most popular mobile games of all time, and for good reason. It's stylish, infinitely replayable, and always fun. And also, that music, baby. Welcome back to the Mobile Game Variety Hour. My name's Kirky, and well, here comes the entourage. Everybody has their favorite generic mobile RPG. Games like Raid Shadow Legends, Magnum Quest, Awaken Chaos Era, Marvel Strike Force, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and kind of the topic of today's video, Summoners Wars Sky Arena. The reason I clump all of these together as generic mobile RPGs is they all follow the same core gameplay loop, being turn-based battles where your heroes are over here, the bad guys are over there, you have to choose your attack, watch everyone whack and blast each other in the face for a minute, you win, gaining XP, level up, earn resources, power up your heroes, and find items to unlock more and stronger heroes. The only real difference being the art style and the roster of characters to choose from. For Marvel Strike Force, you have iconic heroes and villains from the Marvel Universe. The same goes for Galaxy of Heroes and the Star Wars franchise, and I'm not saying another word about Raid Shadow Legends until I see a fat check in my hands. In Summoner's War, most characters can be classified as one of two types of creatures. The first is big, scary fantasy monsters. Oh, that's not too bad. The second is sexy anime titty warriors. Well, what the is that? If the designers are feeling really freaky that day, they might combine the two to make a big, sexy fantasy anime titty warrior monster girl. This I'm actually okay with. The other keystone feature of the generic mobile RPG is hosting events and sponsoring creators in order to give players a bunch of cool and free stuff, which is really just a way to give players a small taste of how cool and powerful they could be if they drop a ton of cash on the game. Generic mobile RPGs can be fun because flashy colors make monkey brain happy, and also there's a fleeting sense of power creep that they give off. However, most games of this archetype are just far too repetitive and give off the awful scent of enter your credit card number here, please, for me to get behind. Go home now! Our next act on the Mobile Game Variety Hour will be My Singing Monsters, performed by someone who has barely played the game and has no musical experience. Bum, 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 I don't even know. Kirky, Mobile Game Variety Hour. I played a single game of PubG Mobile. Here's how it went. Step 1, download PUBG. Step 2, open PUBG. Step 3. If you can't tell, I have been dreading this day because if there's anything worse than a smelly battle royale shooter, it's a smelly battle royale shooter on mobile. I made an account and customized my character, and then I was ready to go! First, I gotta say, one of my biggest concerns coming into this game was the controls, because taking a game which usually requires an entire controller's worth of buttons and translating that down into a touchscreen can be really cumbersome. However, I can say PUBG actually does control fairly decently, especially compared to other games of the like. Now I'm on a plane, and now I just jumped out of that plane. And who does this bozo think he is, following me down to my desired destination of Pokinky? 5 minutes of parachuting later, and I finally land. I mean, we finally land, because this idiot, Raza Ali Razzle 45, is trying to spawn kill me. That son of a bitch! I avoid my competitor, gather some supplies, and find a lovely home to make my base for the time being. And then, gunshots. I run upstairs and duck for cover. My adversary must be on the attack. But wait, Raza Ali Razzle 45 is losing health, and then Raza Ali Razzle 45 is down. This was when I realized, oh, This is a duos game. Oh well, that doesn't change my game plan at all. I found this nifty little scope thing and was testing it out downstairs when all of a sudden... oh my god, it's a pimp! He goes down and then I finished the job. My first taste of blood. I figured that just sitting here and waiting worked out pretty well, so that's what I continue to do. I perched myself on the stairs and waited for my next victim, like a spider in its web, and then This is when I learned ammo is a thing. I run upstairs to reload and take the win thanks to my high ground advantage. 2 eliminated, 78 more to go. I learned that I can use these stairs to my advantage, so I crouched down in the next room and took aim at the stairs. And just as I suspected, my 3rd kill. Grab your marshmallows and start that bonfire, cause we're going camping! I pick up some of the dropped gear and return to my spot. They just keep coming into my trap. 5 kills, 6 kills, 7 kills, I was on a roll, 10 kills! Why would I bother to move, change my game plan, if I repeatedly prove to myself that sitting here and doing nothing is an optimal strategy? I have been Pavlovian conditioned Pavlovianly, if you will. Even the storm, the great equalizer in this godforsaken game, didn't affect me because my drop location, Kirky, is perfect! I get to 12 eliminations before the storm finally catches up to me. I decide it's time to move. I sneak my way out and find a new home just inside of the zone, and then whoa! That was close. Back to what I know best. 4 people remained, and then 3. I allowed my competition to pick each other off until 2 remained. I held my own as I had this entire game. Everything that I had learned throughout this journey boiled down to a 1v1, and by 1v1 I mean, oh, I won. Statue. I was the MVP, and look who decided to finally show up. Raza Ali Razzle 45, who did nothing! I honestly cannot think of a worse genre for mobile gaming than the Battle Royale shooter. Most mobile games work best as fun and quick distractions when you're out and about, and whether you put in 1 minute, 15 minutes, or an hour of playtime, you can enjoy the experience all the same. But with Battle Royale shooters like PubG, the games just require such a large time commitment and a large internet bandwidth to play a single round. It just doesn't work with what mobile gaming is. I played a single game of PubG. It lasted me 30 minutes, and I won. And what did I get out of this experience? Nothing but bullshit.